Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve.
Yes, good day, viewers around the world. You are welcome to this beautiful Friday here in Milan, Italy. My name is Godwin Iweajua, and we've come to do our Friday update. Joining me from different parts of the world are my colleagues and friends. Right there in Lagos, Nigeria, is our big man, Ogbeni Olayinka Raji. Raji, how are you this morning?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. Very, very well. Thank you. Good morning,
Great.
viewers across the globe. Welcome to our Friday program to prepare you for a very lovely weekend.
Lovely weekend indeed. Here in Italy, it's an exciting weekend. In fact, today is holiday. Prior to tomorrow's event, big event at the Vatican, St. Basilica will be having the funeral of the Pope. And joining us from Canada, Toronto, Canada, is our man, George Chukwu. Big George, how are you?
Good morning, Massive Mac, and good morning, Olayinka Raji. Good morning, viewers from around the world. Welcome to our Friday Worldview.
Yes, indeed. Your
here.
guys are welcome. All right, gentlemen, before we go into the major news, let's do some small updates. There's something coming in this morning, just before we came in, Pakistan and that Kashmir war. We all know what's happening at the Kashmir Peninsula. This morning, the Pakistan government is issuing some war threat to India as exchange of fire continues. Actually, what happened was a few days ago, somebody came out from the bush and killed holiday makers, shot at them, and it's all sparking off some war talk in Kashmir, India, Pakistan border town. Let's also go to some updates that will come to the news, gentlemen. Also, this morning, we are hearing that Trump is angry with Putin. Trump is saying, why is Putin doing what he's doing when there should be a ceasefire? So this morning, last night, there was some real fire up in the Kiev region of Ukraine. And it's coming in a time when there should be ceasefire. Gentlemen, this is two hot breaking news we got, and later we might talk about that. Then let's now go into the news proper. George, there's something happening not too far from you. Right there in America, Elon Musk looks like he's stepping back from the role he has been playing with Trump. That's the Doge program. What do you have on that, George? Are you following that story?
Well, it's been a whole lot of attack on Tesla, company, the car, his most of the places where he's selling the vehicles. Many people are rising up against him, and it's been a sharp attack over him, over his involvement in the government. So he's, saying that he's going to step back from his profile on the government role. And the most recent is a sharp decline in Tesla's profit and sales, so looking at what he could lose, I think he made that announcement that he will significantly reduce his involvement with the Department of for Government Efficiency, also known as Doge, an advisory body actually that was created since last year under Trump. So the billionaire is actually having he said he's going to reduce his involvement. Usually under this particular appointment, they usually stay there for 130 days out of the year. But, he's been there day in, day out, and his involvement has, really sparked a whole lot of criticisms. And I believe that's the reason why, he's kind of stepping back, or else he might lose that company, Tesla, if care is not taken.
If care is not taken, Raji, do you see that whole plan as a conspiracy also to drag down Trump? Because what Trump is saying is the public are just not happy with him. The majority of the people want him to be out from that administration. But we know the Doge program, which stands for Department of Government Efficiency, somehow has helped America so far. Like we hear, they've been able to realize huge sums of money used in some very irrelevant activities. Tell us, what do you know?
So his involvement with Elon Musk's involvement with Doge has brought out a lot of government inefficiency and wastage. He has done enough to disrupt the system and then to try and to rebuild the system. It's a good time for him to step back a little to see the effect of the disruptions of the last 100 plus days. The negative effect that his presence in government has had on Tesla is also a sufficient reason for him to step back a little, because out of frustration, a lot of people have taken their frustration on Tesla. Yes, and for very sometimes very unreasonable reasons. But then it's okay for him to step back now, so that tempers will calm down a little. Then he can come back again, or he can be doing whatever he's doing on the background without being too present. Yes.
Without being too present, George. One thing we know is Elon has done impressively well in his business. I mean, he's pulled out some real strong arrangements, structures, and businesses. Now they say he shares and the value of some of his businesses are dropping. People are not buying some of those Tesla cars again. A lot of things are plunging. What do you see with this? Is it going to discourage him, step back, really, or push him forward? Like you have that resilient spirit of moving regardless of what happens.
But you can have a fancy idea, and just because you are a very good basketball player, you score like Michael Jordan or King James, does not mean that if you come into the government, that you will do good. And this is exactly where the mistake comes from. And fancy ideas sometimes don't need to be, don't need to be, just brought before the face of the people. You can ease it in. For instance, what happened in our country, Nigeria. We're suffering what we are suffering today is because of, some ideas that are thought to be a very good one for whatever reason, fuel subsidy, rechanging of the color of Naira. People are still suffering out of those things up until today. Thousands have died as a result of that, and we can call it, oh, it's getting better, it's doing this or doing that. But the point is, a good idea must use, wisdom must be used to bring it in. You can bring it in slowly in stages. Don't just push it over the face of the people and then it destroys the whole entire thing. Just because it's a good idea doesn't mean that if you implement it like what Doge is trying to do, firing thousands of people, displacing them, and closing down some operational departments. You know what? There has been more than 40 oops in the government of Trump. They make a mistake. They make a blatant statement, or we're closing this or we're closing that, and what will end up happening when there is a strong pushback, they will now turn back and re-announce. There are so many of them. Many of them are newsworthy. Many of them are not even. But you hear them every day. They're closing this or they're closing that department or they're stopping this particular thing. When there is a strong pushback, they will just find a way to reinstitute those things again. So the point I'm trying to make here is this. Yeah, there are some fancy good ideas. I call it psychedelic ideas that cannot work simply because of the effects on the communities and the societies. For instance, one of them was concerning the ex-military men when they were
Yeah.
trying to, yes, one of them, and then all of a sudden when there was a strong pushback, then they came back and re-announced again that they're not stopping those type of things. So we have to be very careful. Just simply because you surround yourself with billionaires that are good in their area does not mean that when it comes to the government that they will be good in it. And that's where you have to, yes.
You're good, because we also remember, Reggie, last week, Trump was calling for the U.S. Federal Reserve chair. That's Powell, Jeremy Powell. He was asking that he steps down because Powell didn't want to
Reduce
lower
the
US
interest rate.
And but Powell, being a financial guru, saw it fit to keep it the way it was. He said, "Listen, there's going to be recession." Reggie. So
But another thing, let me just add to what you're
okay,
saying. Another
okay,
thing is actually, what you call ignorance. When you
okay,
don't know that you don't know, that is the worst type of ignorance. Because when you come to this particular, what they're calling, Trump is crying out, oh, Canada is cheating us, Russia is cheating us, we are
Mhm,
paying them so much money, and all that.
mhm.
These are nothing but trade deficits. And somebody is coming out to educate this man. This is not what you are not paying them any money. The fact of the matter is that you have more population and more goods being bought from other countries than they're buying from you because of your population. And as a result of that, there is a trade deficit. So they're not cheating you or taking money from you. It is just the fact that you guys are ordering more from them. For instance, when it comes to parts being produced, Canada supplies US more than what we buy from US. China supplies US more than what US buys from them. And this creates a trade deficit. But he will come out and tell the public that these people are cheating us and these people are doing this and these people. And as a result of that, that is what is actually happening. The people that will reduce interest rate in America is not the governor of the central bank. It's a 12-man committee that will come and study the whole economy, all aspects of it, and determine whether to reduce interest rate or not. So his ignorance is what is really showing out there much, because he's attacking the governor of central bank while he is not even the one to make that decision.
And
And he
George is showing us.
and he cannot fire him.
George, you're
Just
showing us that
constitutionally.
you are not ignorant of all of this. Thank you. You put these words well. Raji, what you have on this whole thing, is he showing ignorance or trying to satisfy, live up to all the election promises he made and satisfy some small group of people, now plunging a larger group of people, even the globe, the world, into situations that are not too pleasant? Raji, tell us.
Yes. Perhaps we should be careful the words we use. I
Ah,
will not think that Trump is ignorant. No, he may not have the depth of knowledge that some people who are experts on the matter have. So I will not say it's a matter of ignorance. And then we should also note that the Federal Reserve is not a government institution. The Federal Reserve is independent of the American presidency, the American government. It's a private institution. Now, the steps that Trump has taken so far are with what he thinks will bring some revival to America. But the fact that they have reduced their production, their industries of production, and have transferred most of the production to China shows up in the trade deficit that we have. And it's a lack of what Trump has been trying to do is not so much as increasing tariffs, but forcing countries to come and renegotiate their tariff structures with him. Unfortunately, he doesn't understand the way the Chinese fight. The Chinese do not go to war. The Chinese win their wars before the first shot is fired. They have a civilization of more than 5,000 years, and they have studied the art of war. And they have known that the moment you deploy resources for war, development stops in the country. That's why China has never been involved in a war. But America has been involved in a war every decade since their independence. And they have wasted trillions upon trillions of dollars on war and armament. China doesn't have to go to war. And China wins every war before it even fires the first shot.
Okay. Thank you, Raji. George, I don't know, is there a need to respond to that? Or
Well,
we just
you see, when you use the word ignorance from a Nigerian standpoint, it seems like it's an insult. It's a simple lack of understanding, like he used right now. Lack of understanding is when you are not well versed over a particular subject. You're ignorant in that area. It's not an insult. It's lack of knowledge or in-depth knowledge over a situation or a subject. We have seen it happen again and again and again. It happened in Nigerian leadership. It's happening in the world today with Trump and all the narratives. So one of the major issues is you want everybody to kiss you. You want you to be an emperor of the world. Let them come to you. But when you are bringing out this news, what on the pushback that he's having right now, those people he's trying to satisfy are being affected. I just came from Paris, I told you. On my travel, I was at the airport trying to buy some drinks that I usually buy, like some of these drinks you can buy from the airport,
Glenfiddich.
well, Glenfiddich and the rest of them. Actually, I used to buy something like Hennessy for $63 US dollars, but right now it's $130 something dollars. Who is it affecting? Is it not the same people he's trying to satisfy? So what is happening with tariffs is this: when you understand the economic processes and the way that they are supposed to be phased in, if you're putting a tariff on a country, the country will not retaliate with putting tariff on yours. But even if they don't, the tariff you put on those products, when it comes into the country, the retailers will now hijack the price to accommodate. So all the people that are you trying to please are the ones suffering. And he's realizing it slowly now. And that's why he's backing off a lot. So what do you call that? It's ignorance. That is lack of in-depth knowledge about the economic processes that can bring about good results.
Okay, gentlemen. Let's go into more stories. So, our viewers, you're tuning into Friday updates, and what we're talking about is Tesla CEO Elon Musk have said he will step back from the role he has with Trump's administration, cutting that cost-cutting team that is known as Doge, and he said he will be stepping back because it's also affecting his own business. His earnings are plunging down, and he has to step back. So, gentlemen, let's do some small updates on the Vatican story. Tomorrow, like you all know, Saturday, 26th, is going to be the final laying to rest of the Pope, the first Latin American Pope. He was a humble man. He walked with grace, age 88, but passed on. So, but there are some things in this whole story. Raji, I saw you're keen on the story too. Who becomes the next pope? And also, there's a story I that touches my heart. It's a heartbreaking farewell story. What you're seeing on screen there, the moment a crying nun, a nun that has known Pope Francis for years now, and she was allowed to break protocol and stand beside his coffin and silently pray for her old friend that passed on. So it was we saw that clip at the Vatican, and it was very emotional. I thought we could share that with our viewers here. Let's see it again. Let's see that clip again here, gentlemen. So that lady there that has that what's going on her, she was allowed to take the protocol and go to coffee. Now, during that, they've known themselves for years now, close to decades, close to like 20 years now. So she was allowed to bring that protocol and see her friend for the last time. That's the lady there. So when we see things like this, George and Raji, it shows that there is still some level of humanity. I mean, people still have love, true love, not other type of love. True love, friendship can still linger on. People still appreciate human beings and themselves. And I mean, what do you see with this clip, gentlemen?
Well, people do mourn in different ways, and most of the things we do after people are passed away is for us, not for them.
Okay.
So whether they can stand and pray for the body or pray for the coffin or pray for it wouldn't have any impact on the individual who is passed away. It is just an emotional expression, because we understand that as Christians, outside of the body, present with the Lord, the spirit goes straight to where it belongs. Once one person dies or passes away or leaves their physical body behind. So most of the things, even when we cry, sometimes we're crying for ourselves, not the individual, especially if that person is in a better place. If you ask the person to come back again, they will never do so. So we understand we understand that people mourn in different ways, and it's a good expression, to see the woman, going there to pray and all that kind of stuff. And this is also the distinction between, biblical understanding and the Catholic understanding, because the Catholic believe that, somebody can go to purgatory, and from purgatory you can pray them into heaven with good works. But that's not the biblical understanding of Christians. That's the distinction between the two.
The two. Thank you, George. Reggie, also, we were able to have some archives, some stories of the Pope when as a young man. We heard something very interesting too. He worked as a bouncer as a young man. He was a bouncer before he decided to give his life to God in service, and he has gone through a lot. So Raji, how do you see this man? What will you say?
You see, the path that a man will take to salvation takes different ways. I have a friend who is now a pastor, and at his 70th birthday, I had to stand up and thank his wife, because but for his wife, I'm sure my friend would have entered hell. So the path to one's salvation takes very different pathways. Influences will come along the way that will make you from a bouncer, because a bouncer's life is a very tough life. Make you from a bouncer to a very humble priest. We thank God for that salvation. We thank God for that path, for whatever it is that caused him to change his path into salvation.
Thank you, Raji. Viewers, stay tuned with SSM. Tomorrow we'll be going live, and we'll be putting out some images we get direct from the Vatican as the Pope is being bid farewell as he's laid to rest tomorrow at the St. Peter's Basilica. Let's also come now to other stories. George, You were at the Basilica. You were there some time ago.
Yes.
Africans seem to have love for the Catholic Church. In fact, the Catholic Church is one denomination that has highest number of followers. About 1.9 billion people are Catholic in the world. Now, Africa take passion. They hold that religion very tight, but they've not gotten. Last time we were talking about this, they've not gotten much of that preeminence, as most continents have gotten. Raji and George, do you think it's time to have an African Catholic priest, Pope? Mm-hmm.
You see, the point about this whole entire thing is when it comes to religion, the way they choose, the way the black or the white smoke comes out, what happens inside, has a lot to do with, the secrecy of the selection. I was told, I think it was Raji was saying last week that there are a few men that will come and start voting. But what influences their vote is another thing. So to me, really, let the right man be there. Not whether it's not a rotational presidency like what we have in Nigeria, where you will get an uneducated, unenlightened person from the north because it's their turn. Now they will be the president rather than the most qualified individual. So to me, as far as I'm concerned, whether it's black or white, let the right person take the position that will lead us in this. And I believe, this is my own personal belief, that whoever this pope will be might be the last pope before the world comes to a place we're thinking that is actually speedily heading to. So that's my take for that.
Right, you go ahead. Right.
Prophet George. Now, there was a short clip about how Catholicism came to Ghana in last week in Cape Coast, where I was born. The first cathedral in Ghana, the first Catholic cathedral in Ghana was St. Francis de Sales, which is in Cape Coast. Catholicism came to Ghana through the Portuguese when they landed in Ghana in 1480 something. That's 1480 something. So Catholicism has been one of the first Christian sects that came to Ghana. And we hear about the presence of Catholics, of the Portuguese in Benin, in Warri, and in the Niger Delta. They were the first people who came. In fact, there was a Benin prince who was educated in was it Benin or Ijob prince or Warri prince who was educated in Portugal. So Catholicism has been in the West African coast since the presence of the Portuguese. Whether a black pope will emerge this time around is still in the air. And the last few times we've had Cardinal Arinze, then there was Cardinal Tabansi, and then there's a Cardinal Toxin from Ghana, and then there's a few other ones from Guinea and from Congo. But let me assure you that there is a lot of politics involved.
Of course.
And the color of your skin may be important. The first few black popes was probably before the year 500. But in the last 1,500 years, no pope have come with a black skin.
Yes, thank you. The picture we see there is the picture of a man called Apia, and he's a Ghanaian cardinal. He seems to be on the front line of who could be the next pope. He has crossed some of the conditions that they are looking at, criteria. So let's hope that The cardinal from Ghana appear might be the next pope. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, gentlemen, let's do small break. We'll be back. Small break. Thank you.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa. Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve.
Yes, viewers, welcome back. Friday, the 25th of April, 2025. And we are here on our Friday International Global Affairs Update. Gentlemen, there's a news coming out from South Korea. The South Korea former president is being indicted on bribery charges. And that's the President Moon Jae has been indicted for bribery charges linking to his son-in-law occupying a position that was not qualified for him, all in return for some cash and all that. Now, why we're bringing this story up is South Korea has repeatedly shown us that there is transparency somehow in their governance. And we really wish most countries like Nigeria will learn this. I mean, come after a former president, to clear him of all wrongdoing is a good thing. George.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We saw what happened, the last incident that took place when they wanted to arrest him, and then all hell broke loose, But this particular one is actually, he traces back all the way to 2018 appointment of his son-in-law at a Thai airline, So the prosecutors are alleging that Moon accepted favors through the hiring and financial compensation of his son-in-law by a company controlled by a former lawmaker, Lin Sang-jik, and who was also indicted for the bribery breach of trust. The case involves about $178,000, dollars during Moon's presidency. So it's an allegation until proven, he's still innocent until proven guilty. So let's see what happens, in that area. And this kind of shows us that is always political turmoil, in all parts of the world. It's not only in Nigeria. So, yeah.
Turmoil in parts of the world. Raji, do you agree that, yes, leadership has its hiccups all over the world? And
of course.
Yes.
Of course, and then there's your responsibility when you get to government. I love the South Korean way. South Korea has a civilization similar to the Chinese, and then they have a system of what they call gratification that has been built into even government policies, so that where the gratification you are getting is above a certain percentage, you can be held liable for corruption. So it's part of what they have done. It used to be 10% in the Nigerian concept before it now became like 99.9%. So that where you have wherever there's a contract, there's a built-in percentage that is given to the source person for that. But when it goes beyond a certain level, that's why a mere $178,000 is becoming a problem. Because $178,000, what is that become in an economy like that of Korea? Compare 1 billion that somebody in Nigeria can pocket and go free, or $1 million, and then he would just come back and join APC, and all his sins will be forgiven.
All his sins will be forgiven. Now let's come to that story. It's Friday, International Affairs Day, but let's do small local news, Nigerian news. Talking of what Raji just said, viewers, there's something really interesting happening in Nigeria at the moment with our political party, George. When Bode George, a guest here on this network, PDP chairman for Southwest, yes, when he said this day before 3 days ago, we thought he was just talking. But after his address, we saw more what they call decamping. In fact, you have the governor of a state, George,
and the whole House of Assembly.
Can you imagine? And former governor Peter Okowa and the present governor, imagine going in with a political ticket, with a party ticket, and now switching over. Why you're still George, tell us. It's crazy. I don't know how you say.
No, politics has gone haywire in Nigeria. Politics is gone beyond, what I will call a common man human comprehension. I mean, these are things that are unheard of in politics, but it is happening in our own eyes. And it's almost like nothing can happen. We just heard about Fubara flying to London to speak to our president, to possibly to bring reconciliation between the nonsense that is happening in River State. It stinks. It really stinks. We're talking about democracy. All of a sudden, everybody's afraid of what might happen to them. So
the emperor.
The safety zone now is to run into one party, and then once you're there, you're safe, and you can commit all kinds of atrocities because the opposition is really dwindling and is shrinking to non-existence. That's not politics. You cannot have a democracy with only one party. Who does that? And we are seeing it happen in our presence, and it is repeatedly happening. It's a shameful happenstance in Nigeria, honestly speaking.
Raji, before you speak, let our viewers understand what we're talking about. It's a Nigerian news update. Now let's see this clip before we continue.
Need for us to adjust the drinking pattern. And in adjusting that drinking pattern, we needed to take a decision that will further help to cement the development in our state, to build the bond of love that has existed in our state, to further advance the cause of security and welfare of our people, and to a very large extent ensure that development in Delta, because every politics is local, is not truncated. And in taking that decision, we came to the inevitable conclusion that moving out of the PDP is very, very necessary for us to be able to collaborate with our kith and kin and build that state that every Delta will be proud of. We believe that what is happening and the state of the PDP is akin to that palm wine whose states have changed, and there was a need for us to change the drinking pattern. And that is why this decision has been taken unanimously by leaders and stakeholders of the party, and by the grace of God, on Monday next week, we will be able to make a very big statement as to the fact that we are moving.
Viewers, what you're seeing there is that's the governor of Delta State standing with those chief PDP officers that have all decamped. Governor Sharif Obo Borowe has decamped from PDP to APC, and former governor also of Delta State, Okowa, also decamped from PDP to APC. Raji, let's hear from you. Go ahead.
I'm so very, very happy that what he said was about drinking palm wine. It was he was talking like a drunkard. 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 He was because it's only a drunkard who will start changing the drinking pattern when the wine is changed. It is unconscionable. It is very, very indecent for anybody to stand for election on the platform of Party A, and having been given that mandate to get into power and now decide to move into Party B. It is unconscionable. It is unconstitutional.
It's
It is indecent.
unconstitutional. That's exactly what
It is
it is
indecent.
unconstitutional. Mm-hmm.
You see, it flies against decency. And if we allow this thing to continue without, because it is happening with APC, we are not saying anything. We are burdening the destruction of this country. This country, as it is now, has no foundation. We are now chipping off the little decency that is left in us. This is shameless. This shows how shameless the political leadership of this country is. And I don't see any progress for us. There are a bunch of drunkards who are changing drinking pattern.
Changing drinking pattern. On top of it, we know that things are not well with such things. Now, on top of all of this, even the party they are switching to doesn't have much difference. It's still the same old people with old style of doing things, and we're not seeing concepts come out of our political parties. No ideology, like we say. Nothing different. No, they change now. I bet you in some years to come, all of these people will switch again to somewhere else.
Sir Mark, please let me put in a few words. We don't have parties in Nigeria. All that we have are special purpose vehicles for attaining power and using the government resources as we wish. We don't have parties. And I can pronounce today that the only party we've ever had in this country from 1914 to date has been the Action Group, which was a party with a philosophy, with an ideology, with membership that was brought in, who choose their members to represent them based on the ideology of the party, not because of how much the candidate has. And that's why it didn't last, because the AG as a party could not last, because it flies against the principle. What would I say? It flies against the nature of things in Nigeria, because there's no firm ideology. Everything we do is as pertains to the circumstances of the moment, so that if things change, we become something else. There's nobody in APC. In fact, there's hardly anybody in APC who was not at one point a member of PDP. And there's hardly anybody in PDP who was not at one point or the other a member of the APC. So they are just a whole bunch of rabble-rousers, a bunch of drunkards drinking from whatever pot they can get.
I think I like the word rabble-rousing. George, what's the future with this kind of thing? What do you see in our political structure?
I don't know. I really don't know, because our political system and the state of our affairs is, I don't know how to describe it, because with this happening in our own presence, all people defying the 1999 Constitution and doing what they want, and the parties are accepting it, and just taking it like that. To me, as a matter of fact, doesn't tell you where we are heading and what is going to happen tomorrow. Anything is bound to happen as we wake up tomorrow, because I never thought that this would happen after what took place in River State, and after what the governor of Cross River was announcing the other day. I can understand if they want to say, well, we're going to support the president now because he's favoring us. Is he not the president of all the states in Nigeria? Is he not the president of both the ones that voted for him and didn't vote for him? Must it now be that simply because he's doing what he's supposed to do, now you're going to reward him by joining his party in order for him to win again. It doesn't make any sense. These are not politics. We're just playing games like children. Honestly, that's what it is.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's really sad. Now, let's come to some issues that politicians, our leaders, don't look into. And it's something that's coming up now because it's becoming real, very bad situation. And that is what we call cattle rearing, herds farmer situation, because presently there is this herd farmer clash going on. People are using their herds to eat up farm produce, eat up farm products, and it's not going well. So yesterday a meeting was set up right there in Nigeria, and now that meeting that's called National Economic Council, chaired by the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima. They are now trying to look into ways to stop this whole quagmire of madness of herds and farmers. George, we've been talking about this a long time. In 2025, herdsmen carry cows along the streets of Nigeria. George, let me start with you because I know Raji will tell us a lot about this. He's on ground. George, I mean, how do we settle this once and for all?
Well, you see, our former president was the head of that particular group. Well, I don't know what they are called again. I think it's called Miadi, whatever, Miati group.
Yes, Miati Allah. Yes,
Miati Allah. So you see, right now, what we are seeing is an imposition of these, people, Fulani herders and the Fulani oligarchy over the whole entire nation. In 2025, this ought not to be. I do understand that Nama is supposed to be eaten all parts of the world. Right now, for you to get a healthy Nama is about 1.6 million naira. Yes, 1.6. And most of the time when you get them, they're not even as fatted up as they're supposed to be. So no, you know that what they are carrying there is a lot of money. And they're using it with the impetus and disregarding, other areas of Nigeria and other industries like farmers in the food basket in the central region of Nigeria, like Benue, Jos, Plateau, and all the rest of them, Benue State. So the problem we have is when we refuse to think in a modern term. Other nations are producing cow. They are rearing cows. But they're not taking them all over the street and destroying food products and, crops, people's farms. And then when they rise up and you start shooting and killing them, 5 of them were killed recently because of, this situation. And we are all sitting. I thank God for the Westerners because when they came in the West, they fought them with everything they had. But most of the time in the East, we lay back and allow these people to come and just destroy our farmlands. And then we are talking about food insecurity. So these are the things that are it stinks. It stinks, especially where we are today. We ought to have developed some kind of way where they can go, buy feeders and feed all these animals. But no, we want to just destroy the whole entire nation simply because the Fulani herders are taking their cows all over the place. It is unacceptable, it is intolerable, and it must change.
It's unacceptable, intolerable, and must change. Raji, you are on ground. You see more of this than we out here. Lately, what actually brought this meeting, the meeting they had yesterday, is because now some farmers are poisoning the cows. There was that situation in Benue where the farmers angrily put poison on the leaves the cows were eating, the cords they were eating, and all were poisoned. So he killed some numbers of cows, and the headsmen are fighting back. Tell us, Raji, how can this be?
So let me clear this point. The farmers are not poisoning the cows. The farmers are protecting their farms. Now, if you bring your cattle to eat my protected farm, and something happens to your cow, that's your problem. The farmers are not poisoning. It's not as if they are going after the cows and putting poison on them. They are poisoning. They are protecting their farmland.
Okay.
Now, we should also realize that as far back as 1968, had there been a ban on open grazing? How we are still having open grazing almost 60 years later, and it has become a serious problem, is beyond my understanding.
We lost Raji there. Yes. George, he's saying some very strong things there too. The open grazing.
Think about it. Even in North America and all over the world, if insects are eating up your insects are eating up the leaves of your plants, and you spray something to protect them. I'm backing you up, Olayinka Raji.
I agree with you.
You spray something to stop the insects from eating up your leaves and destroying your plant. You're not poisoning them. You're protecting your products your farmland. So this is a good idea for them to take this thing back to where it belongs. So at least to find a way to start feeding all these animals, because what they are doing is they are making money at the expense of others. Rather than finding a way to feed all the animals, they're taking it into destroying people's crops, farmland. And these are the food basket of Nigeria. No, they must stop.
Sorry, John. Let me go on. Now, as far as I can see, I see it as a war of attrition, deliberate war of attrition, using their cattle to destroy farmlands and causing starvation and food insecurity across the whole country. There's sufficient land across the north. In fact, the land in the north is so flat and so plain and so broad that they can feed their cattle anywhere in the north. The north has more land than the south. So why do they have to come to the south to be doing all these things? And then let us also remember that during Buhari's time, almost everybody in this country was disarmed. The only people who now carry arms, licensed by the government, are the Fulani herdsmen with their AK-47. AK-47 is even more powerful, more professional, more powerful, more vicious than the Shakabula that our soldiers and the police carry.
Okay,
so viewers, let us get that.
Yeah, viewers, we're discussing Nigeria this time. Farmer headers clash, open grazing, and all that. Yesterday there was a neck meeting. Nigerian vice president and the farmers headers are looking into ways to really stop this thing. But let me put some two top line news to you guys that you don't know. Hear this. Those cows are actually Southeastern Igbo men, businessmen that owns them. Number one, take note of this. This is from our fact-finding research. They are not Hausa, they are not owned by those Fulani. Those Fulani men are just grazers. This is their job profession. So majority of those cows you see walking on the street are owned by Southeastern businessmen, number one. Number two, yes, they have to come to the South to show that those products because they need people to buy.
Massive Mark.
Yes.
For you. Stop this nonsense.
Stop right there.
No,
George,
stop it right there. Stop this nonsense. Stop it. Stop it.
Ingenious.
Stop it. See what you're doing.
Ingenious.
Do you see what you're doing?
This is ingenious. This is disinformation.
So bad. Disinformation that you are bringing out. You need to stop it now. Stop it.
Please, stop it.
It is not a fact.
It is not a fact.
It's not a
Okay.
fact.
Oh, please stop
It's not
it.
a fact. You
What
need
kind
to
of
stop that nonsense right now.
I'm telling you
what
guys,
you're doing. Let me tell you something.
George,
don't
stop
be
that
emotional.
nonsense.
Don't be
Stop it.
emotional.
No, it's not.
Stop
It's
it.
not a matter
No,
of
it's not
emotion.
emotional.
We
It's about facts.
are
Let me tell
discussing
you.
serious matters. That is,
You're here playing
discussing
games
serious
No.
with these
issues.
Listen,
people. Don't
I
do
am
that.
not in
Don't
support.
do
I'm
that.
not in support.
Don't do that.
Stop
Don't
it.
do that.
Stop it.
Please.
Stop
No,
it.
listen,
Stop
don't
it.
do that.
No, we're not going to listen. You cannot put this in the air. You can't.
Go ahead.
You
Go ahead.
cannot.
No, but I mean,
No,
I've
you
just said,
cannot.
listen.
Stop it.
No,
Don't-
listen.
don't
stop-
You're
stop
mixing,
it.
No,
you're
no, no,
mixing,
no, no,
you're
no.
mixing
No,
my
if you have-
emotion. Listen to what I said.
Stop
Massive
it.
Mark,
Stop
don't
it.
use your
Okay, go
channel
ahead.
for disinformation. Don't use
No,
your
don't
channel
do
for
that.
Go
disinformation.
ahead.
Don't do
Okay,
that.
go ahead. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Somebody
Don't do that.
Go ahead.
Deliberate obfuscation. No, it is not right.
What are you doing? Why can you even open up and
It's
read
just
that kind of
deliberate
nonsense and bring it in
obfuscation.
here?
Abba,
How can you even do that?
Okay, but
Don't
listen,
do that.
listen. You're missing
That is
the
not.
point.
Don't mention this subject
you are
again.
the one missing the point.
No.
You are the
Listen,
one
Yes,
missing
you
the point.
are. Yes,
I'm
you
not.
are.
When
Stop
I'm
it.
not in
Stop it.
support.
Stop it.
No,
Stop
wait,
it.
George,
You are
When-
not your misinformation.
Listen, George, listen to what I'm saying. You're missing the point. Now, I'm not talking of the brutalization of the farmers. I'm talking of the nature of the
Why
business.
have you muted George?
Because if you're missing the point,
Unmute George. Unmute George. Unmute
We
George.
cannot use
We
this
are
place.
your panelists. You
Yes.
are supposed to listen
go
more
ahead.
to us than
Go
bring
ahead.
your own disinformation into the program.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It is not worth my while to be sitting down here listening to what you are spewing out. It is not.
Let me tell you
It is
something.
unfortunate.
Let me tell you something.
No.
What has been happening, listen to this. Number one, they're even now trying to say that the herders, that the conflict is between the Fulani Muslim herders and the Fulani Muslim Christians. That's what they're trying to now turn it to be, but it is not true. The people they're fighting are not Fulanis. The people in Central, in Benue, in Plateau, they are Christians, but they are not Fulanis. You see, what you're trying to do is to bring a little confusion to the truth of the matter that has been there for ages. And you're trying to bring this thing now to stop turning against Igbos. Don't you dare do that again. No, you should not.
Believe me.
Don't do
guys,
that.
You're
Don't
missing.
do that.
Believe me, you
No, you
You are the one messing up. You are not messing up the whole thing. Please don't.
Okay, let's not go further than that. But I really, you didn't even make me explain what.
No, there is nothing to explain. Nothing.
You should not explain
Zero explanation.
George,
no.
you was talking.
Stop it. No, close that subject, and let's go to something else, please.
Don't
close the
put
subject.
emotion.
No,
Don't put emotion on
no
your
facts.
There's no emotion here.
I'm an Igbo man. I'm not a farmer. I'm not a grazer.
You are in Italy.
Oh,
you're trying to
yeah.
cause confusion in Igbo land. Stop this nonsense now.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Those cows are owned by Igbo businessmen.
They are traitors in every tribe, and you are trying to be one of them.
No.
It is not right.
I'm telling you what it is.
Please,
believe me,
it is not what it is. It is not what it is. You are somewhere in Milan spewing nonsense. No, it's not right.
It's not spilling nonsense.
No,
it's what it is. George has angrily left the stage. Viewers.
He has to.
Let's talk about the airpiece suspension as a result of the NENET strike. But this morning we got the update that NENET has come on board. They've cancelled their strike. What do you have on that, Raji? Are you following the meteorology department and their strike?
Yes, I'm following their strike and the stoppage of that strike. But I didn't know that airpiece had been suspended.
Oh.
I didn't know that airpiece had been suspended. I don't know why they were suspended, if they have been suspended indeed.
Yes.
I heard about the strike.
Yes, airpiece had to suspend its flight nationwide.
Okay, because of the
safety concern, and they said also that they are, even though they've suspended the strike, the NENET people, airpiece is not calling off its own
Okay, sorry, I now understand. Air Peace suspended its own operation based on the strike of the climate because they cannot fly without information from the
But Air Peace, even though they called off the strike, Air Peace is still staying on ground, and they are saying because Nenet is not really looking at the issues, that the cloud is not very bright for travel, for air travel, and even though they've called off the strike, they are still not operating till they see clearance, good atmospheric clearance in the air. So this is what's happening on that also. Raji, we have come to the end of another Friday. I was saying, yes, he got a little bit tense and John had to leave. So tomorrow we'll be here, viewers. We'll be here on the Pope's final hour as he's been laid to rest. Raji, I want to thank you for coming. Friday, SSM International update. What do you have to say? What will you want to add to all we've been saying? Your network. Go ahead. Raji, you're muted.
All our viewers, a very, very lovely weekend. And then they should please note that what is happening in Nigeria is more serious. It's a war of attrition from the Fulani against the South. And then everything and the level of murder and killing have been going on, and the disarming of the people of the South against the arming of the people of the Fulani herdsmen is unconscionable, and it should be reversed. That every group should be given sufficient support and ammunition so that they can protect themselves. The government cannot protect itself.
On that note, we say have a beautiful weekend. Raji, I'm with you on that, but you see, what you do understand is I'm giving you the nature of the business itself. Not
I refuse to understand. If you are bringing it from that point, I refuse to understand.
Yeah, you refuse to understand. All right, let's not be emotional about things. Take note that leave and let others leave.
So you also have to be very careful the way you describe others' feelings. I am not emotional. I'm not emotional. And if on this matter, I can be very, very emotional because more than 20,000 people, non-Fulanis, have been killed across Nigeria, and the government is not doing anything about it. In fact, it is more than 50,000 Nigerians, non-Fulanis, have been killed. Trillions of naira has been taken as ransom from kidnappers. It is not a small matter.
It's not a small issue. It's a serious thing. Until we come again, Raji, thank you for coming on the show, and see you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve.